We're gonna have... Ah, pardon. Alors, attendez. Je peux vous laisser ça là? We'll just be ready in a moment. So we have a really tight packed schedule this morning. We have so many amazing solutions to hear. They only get 3 minutes to pitch. So it's high pressure, fast paced. But it's really just about us hearing about all of these different solutions. There's no specific prize, but for the jury, you do have a QR code to scan, so you can vote for your favorite solution of the day as well. Now, ready to go. Welcome to the stage.
Hi everyone, thanks for attending this pitch session this morning. You're going to hear great solutions in a few minutes, but we just wanted with Foucault to introduce you to the Circular Challenge Citeo. So it has been 6 years now that we have created, I don't know if it works. Yep, okay. So it has been 6 years now that we have detected and accelerated solutions in France and internationally in the household packaging and industry and the paper industry also to accelerate the transitions towards a circular economy. So just a few figures for you to have an idea. We have identified 1,650 solutions internationally. We have accelerated 61 projects, mostly startups, and we are lucky to be supported by 40 partners, investors, customers, media through these challenges. So through the year, we realized and we figured out that we have still big challenges to switch to a circular economy, especially to scale solutions and to create a circular and profitable business model, because since we need to create new business model in the circular economy, and of course we still need to innovate quickly. So last year, actually, at Change Now, we launched the accelerator, Circular Challenge Citeo Accelerator, to still find and detect innovative solutions led by the key principles, of course, of reducing, reusing, sorting, and recycling, but also these solutions to be technically validated by our experts, since we have a strong ecosystem of experts, and be approved, which reassures the clients and the customers, and also to be operational and ready to deploy at a large scale. So our goal is to find 100% solutions for the packaging industry, so which is ambitious, but we believe in it. So our accelerator, basically, it's 1-year coaching program to scale up circular economy projects. So we detect this solution. We give them financial support, but mostly we support them with the expertise of Citeo in eco-designing, recycling, sorting, communication, mobilization. And they have coaching and mentors through the year. And we also organize workshops on the business model, how to find the business model, the new business model, and to create and also to measure the impact.
Thank you, Marine. Thank you all for being here. So my name is Foucault, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about Circular Challenge Citeo, following what Marine said. So first, the first thing to know is that we achieve this mission to accelerate startups because we have a great ecosystem. The ecosystem of Citeo, the customers, the partners, the recyclers, the collectivities, but also at Circular Challenge we have specific partners. For example, Change Now is one of our partners. So thanks again to Change Now, but we also have media, big media. We have people from finance, from innovation, and they help us select the best startups, but also accelerate them afterwards. Yes, so today, as Marine said, it's been 6 years that Circular Challenge exists. So there are 62 Circular Challenge finalists, which makes a great alumni community. So maybe you recognize 1 or 2 logos of the startups. And we have the great chance to have the 8 laureates of this year who are coming to pitch and who are among those logos. Just 3 dates before we hear the 8 finalists. But the 3 days, the first date is May 31st. It's the end of the to apply. It's the last date to apply for Circular Challenge Citeo to be accelerated in 2023. So if you have an innovative project and you want to be accelerated, to be in contact with customers such as Danone, Procter & Gamble, to be in contact with financiers, make sure you go on our website, circularchallengeciteo.com, in order to apply. The second thing is that we have a great bootcamp which will hold, yes, I'm almost done, which will take place the 8th and 9th of November. And very last date you should remember about Circular Challenge is in December. Beginning of December, we have a great annual circular event concerning the final solution, which will be accelerated and about circular economy. And then I leave the speech to the great laureates.
Thank you so much, both of you, for starting off our session. And of course, those solutions won't only be pitching to all of us, but they'll also be pitching to our jury here, who will then have the chance to ask them some questions. So I want to hand over now to all of you to quickly introduce yourself very briefly and to share what are you looking for in this pitch. So I will hand you the microphone and we'll just go across.
Great. I am Marc Sabas. Pleased to meet everyone. I work at Ship2B Ventures, which is an impact venture capital fund based out of Barcelona, but investing in European companies across solutions that are trying to solve the world's greatest challenges. And I lead the climate and education vertical. And in this pitch session, we're looking for solutions that can scale, that are solving a big problem, and that they could do it in the next 5 years.
Ambitious, I like it. All right, thank you.
Hello, Laetitia Pestoury. Sorry. I'm working for Heineken in France. I'm brand sustainability manager, and circularity is really a high topic for us. So I'm very glad to be here in order to find new solutions.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alban Martin. I'm the head of CSR partnership for Orange, and I'm looking for first being impressed, and then I'm looking for potential partners for net zero carbon.
Thank you. I'm sure we will all be very impressed.
Hi, I'm Flo. I'm director of 50 Partners Impact, positive startup accelerator funded by 50 successful entrepreneurs. We look at all type of impact solutions, and among them, obviously, circular solutions. So very interested to see what we have today.
Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, Olivier from Citizen Capital. I'm partner in charge of our early stage fund. We invest in solutions, in mission-driven solutions, solving environmental and social issues. We haven't invested in any of those companies as part of the Circular Challenge, so I'm looking forward to meeting some of you guys.
Super cool. Thank you all so much, and great to have you here as our jury. But now it's really time for the heart of our pitching session, which is, of course, the pitches. So pitches, you'll have 3 minutes. We're pretty strict about the time. So we can't wait to hear about your solution. And first up, we've got Terravox, helping local communities turning their waste to resources in order to improve their daily life. Over to you.
So good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah, and I work at Terravox. In Terravox, we work to sensitize people to manage their waste on a positive and inclusive way. As a point of departure, we realized there is 2 wastes in our territory. The first waste is a waste of resources, as recycling rates are very low, especially in dense urban areas. And at the same time, there is a waste of talents, the talents of young people who are still unemployed in the same cities. So to make this 2-point change, we really want to try to make people look to our waste on a different way. So what about looking to our waste as a resources that can improve and impact people's everyday life? To do this change and to make it happen, we support local communities in transforming their own waste into resources so that they can take care not only of each other and also improve their neighborhoods. Our solution is a full program based on behavioral science that can really transmit and teach to people the skills and the keys to change the communities and to change their waste into resources. We do it with a workshop, a collective workshop that we do, especially in the local quarter, and where we teach them and pass them on the skills on circular economy. So they will practicing and manipulating their own waste, and we do it both in person and also online, so that they could have a coach during all the program. Our results, so right now it's more than 140,000 people sensitized in 2022, until 2022, in more than 15 cities in all the region of Ile-de-France, and now we have one new more community created in Bordeaux. And thanks to this, we want to show that all together we can really have impact with our circular and local communities. 3 impacts. The first one is a waste reduction. A second one on inclusion, because our local communities are made of people who live in these areas, and we try to create vocation and employment thanks to waste management. And they all work together in the same way for improving well-being for urban citizens. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, next up we have got UNICO, who are helping waste collectors to optimize their logistics.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, so I'm Clément, I'm the CEO and co-founder of UNICO, and I founded the company with 2 associates. It was 2 years ago, and we are now lucky to be accelerated inside the Circular Challenge since the beginning of the year. So at UNICO, we basically started with a simple question: how to digitalize a business that has a real need, but doesn't have the proper tool to carry on this change. So, because waste collectors, either they are private or public, face the same issue. First, their activity becomes more and more complex because of sorting issues, because of recycling performances, also because it's there are a lot of streams that are rising inside this sector, but it's also an activity that faces another issue that is more expensive. It's more the case right now with the increase of the fuel prices. Unfortunately for us, it's a commercial argument, but we will try to save money for our clients. And finally, there is a third option. It's the regulation that is really presses these actors to change the way they were collecting waste on the territories. But when we went inside the waste department, we saw Excel files, paper and pen, or phone calls that are quite frustrating for everyone. And when they wanted to scale, they didn't, because they didn't have the proper tools to carry on this change. So we went on this market with a simple solution, fully integrated, and a turnkey one, basically focused on 2 interfaces. Unitech, the one on the left, is a kind of toolbox for the collector where he can find optimization rounds, store data, export statistics, but also generate bills at the end. So a kind of fully integrated solution. And on the field, we don't forget the operators that drive the cars every day. We developed a mobile app. It's a kind of Waze dedicated to collectors when you have navigation assistant, GPS, and also a lot of interactivity with each point in order to take photos, sign documents, and so on. And we are quite happy now because we have great clients all around the country. We'll also have big companies, big public clients, but also smaller ones, for example, dedicated to handicap or to professional reintegration. And we're also glad to have a lot of partners, decisive partners for us, but also a large network to sustain our development. And we're also finalizing raising seed fundraising right now. So everything is booming for us. So we're really glad to be here today with you. And I would answer to your question if you have so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Okay, straight on to the next with Cozie. Nice, you've even got it on your t-shirt. Loving it. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm Arno, co-founder of Cozie. Nice to meet you. Cozie, we are a cosmetic brand. And our mission, our purpose is to promote circular economy in the cosmetic industry. So it can be deposit scheme, it can be bulk, it can be refill, you name it. And the whole story started, so first, just to give you the big picture, yeah, in this industry, when you want to address circularity in the cosmetics, you have strong opportunities because there are strong environmental stakes and consumers are more and more aware of it. And there are also strong opportunities because the legal constraints put a pressure on the market that makes it impossible for many players to go in that. So if you can crack the code, you can go there. And the constraints are hygiene mostly and traceability. If you want to go in this area in the circularity, you have to address hygiene and traceability. Plus, if you want to address, if you want to have a smooth and seamless consumer experience, of course, it must be simple and accessible. The consumer is not ready to pay for environmental solution. Same for the retailer. So in 2018, we created the brand Cozie. All right, so we started with products like this that are all in glass bottles and jars, and that we can retrieve thanks to a deposit scheme, or that the consumer can refill in store thanks to the machine that you can see here. And we have other solutions where, okay, the consumer by himself will refill. So it's circular economy, and we wanted to show with this brand that it's feasible and that there is a business model. All right. So as of today, we are in 480 stores in France, and we have machines everywhere for the consumer to refill. And the deposit scheme, we have a return scheme of 60%. Okay, so it's working. Oh, sorry. All right. Based on this, as I said previously, we want to promote this solution, the circular economy, for the whole industry. So we don't want to be alone. We want to bring aboard all the big brands. And that's what we started to do 2 years ago with all those brands here, Clarins, Rocher, and so on, by first providing them with solutions, all right? So you have bulk solutions, you need to handle traceability, you need to handle hygiene. This is feasible. So we sold machines to these brands, and of course, we also help them to tackle all their questions because it's a big nightmare for them to go to linear consumption to circular consumption. So we make them gain a lot of time with our solutions and consulting advices. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, we've got one more solution before we move into the Q&A, and now we've got Papkot. Imagine a world where paper could create the same effect as plastic. Let's hear all about it.
Hello everyone, my name is Guillaume and I'm a founding team member of Papkot. So we think that today we have an alternative to plastics. As most of you know, plastics is supposed to be one of the biggest contamination sources under our waterways, which is the water that we drink, right? Additionally to that, it has also like a lot of consequences on our environment, and also new regulations are popping up. So what I'm wondering is, what if? What if we had a solution where paper could get the performance of plastics? Because paper is great, right? Paper is recyclable. Paper is biodegradable. So the end of life doesn't really matter. Because no matter what, it will be taken care of. And additionally to this, what if you could get cost parity? Which means you get a paper, it performs like plastic, and at cost parity. You don't need to pay even €1 more. That's what we're doing at Papkot, and that's what we're fighting for. So typically, that's what we do. At Papkot, we developed a green-based chemistry which creates a coating that enables paper to perform like plastics, but without changing the end of life of paper. And very concretely, right? Let me take a coded sample that comes out of our lab this morning. So what it is that this sheet of paper has performances like plastic. water repellency. It's also food grade. You can add like grease barrier or like water vapor barrier. Additionally to this, it has competitive economics. And for our customers, they don't need to invest any capex, just because our coating is fully plug and play in the current production lines. And most importantly, this piece of paper is fully recyclable, fully biodegradable, and free of plastics. That's very important. It's all green chemistry based. No plastic, no fluor, nothing. So I let you touch it. If you don't trust me, if you have coffee or if you have paper, feel free to play with it. Maybe just to give you an overview of where we stand today at Papkot. Our main focus for 2022, as we're closing our seed round, is to attract the right talents to accelerate. Because as of today, we already have one product on the market, and we're in a very good position to have 3 by the end of the year. Secondly, we have large commercial tractions with our technology validated in more than 15 customers' lab. And third, we're operationally ready to scale. We can deliver up to 10,000 tons of coating this year. So our focus for this year is just to accelerate and recruit the right talents. You'll see our product soon on the market. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. All right, everybody, we've heard now from the first 4 solutions, and we're going to have time for Q&A with our jury who are seated here at the front. So I want to ask all the solutions who just pitched to come back on stage. Now I've got 8 minutes. We'd love to have a question for every solution. So you're already holding the microphone. If you want, you can start us off.
I'll start with Cozie. The question was, what kind of feedback have you gotten directly from the consumers of the cosmetics around this way and this behavior change that it implies, the refilling?
Very good question. We have economics first offer. Just to give you an order of magnitude, we retrieve 40 to 60% of our jars and bottles in store. It can depend from one store to another, but so it's quite a good number. We want to do more, but so it's quite interesting because they go on. In our history, we started, with consumers that were already in a zero waste approach and so on. So they were ready to play the game. Now we are more and more in stores like Printemps, Monoprix, and so on, where the consumer is more interested in our products first, and then it's very interesting because we don't do the acquisition thanks to the zero waste approach because they don't care much. But when they bring back the bottle for the deposit or when they come back to refill in store, we create strong loyalty, customer loyalty. So there is strong interest in it. Now, as I said before, they're not ready to pay for it. So we must have a scheme where and a business model where the brand and the retailer must endorse the system.
Thank you very, very much.
I have a question for Papkot. Have you made the LCA, a carbon footprint of your solution, and do you have compared it to the same packaging but in plastic?
So we're looking on it actively with our suppliers. And we don't yet have all the answers, but we assume it will be almost the same, maybe a little bit less.
Okay.
To be defined.
Thank you.
I have a question for Terravox. We've seen that you're profitable, or at least you are generating revenue. Can you tell us where does the money come from? Who pays for that?
Yeah. In all our projects, we work with different customers. So there is collectivities and all the cities who are working on with waste management, and we also work with social. I don't know how you say it in English, but the person who are in charge of the buildings and the residents. So they all work together to really create this impact, and we also work with companies that try to collect the waste, who also have an important impact, so that we improve the quality of the waste we collect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My question will be for UNICO. If I understand it correctly, you're selling probably a software as a service or something similar.
Yes.
What is your positive impact indicator? What will you be following?
We separated our impact in three different points. The first one is the direct one. according to the decarbonization of the collection round, because we optimize the round and we avoid some kilometers and fuel and plastic pollution and everything. So that's the point, and we can quantify it quite easily with the platform before and after. The second one is the reactivity to the main disturbances or problems we can identify on the territory. I can take an example really quickly. The waste on the ground that are thrown by the citizens, for example, you can detect it with our platform, and then you can be more reactive then to collect it, and then we can have data on this. We can try to see if maybe it decreases along the time. So that's another point, and it wasn't tracked before, and with UNICO we can do it. And the third one, we try to work with companies that have a positive impact, for example, people from ESS, so Impact One, with working with handicap and professional reintegration. So we help them to develop their activity, to scale up, and for us it's a good thing to have an indirect impact on them.
Thank you.
I have a question for Papkot. Brands can be sensitive to how different their packaging is from their competitors. How much adjustment does your solution need? I mean, how much adjustment do you make for each brand? And where does the IP lie? Does it stay with you, or does it go, or do you transfer it to your clients?
That's a really good question, thank you. So basically, our solution is a chemical solution. What it means is like we're going to create a chemical bond with the paper and the coating. So each solution is tailored to one customer. Each solution has to be tailored to one specific paper and to the target properties. So basically, we have like a technology platform where like paper is the hardware, and all the different solutions that we can develop and all the different barriers that we can develop are all the different software. So it's fully tailored to the customers. And then on the IP part, what we patented today is the technology platform, the fact of adding like Lego blocks. And then we can develop each single solution. On the IP question, it will really depend client by client. Like it's something that we negotiate, but usually it doesn't create too many troubles.
All right, thank you very much. We still have time for one or two more questions. You can go rogue. I love how you're... we'll keep it to the jury. That would be quite rogue. But the audience, of course, if you have questions, you can have a chat with the solutions afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I have one for Cozie. Is there any issue with the brand image? You know, the refill part is like the glamorous behind the bottle, the design, and then you just go refill by yourself. Is it an issue?
Of course, if you don't address it well. We did it with Clarins, so you can imagine that it won't sacrifice this glamour aspect. So yes, you must make sure that the consumer experience is seamless and that you stay in the same level of glamour expectation. That's one part. So for the bulk especially, you have to indeed work on that. And if there is a single problem when the consumer is going on site to refill his bottle, it's a nightmare and it's not acceptable. So you must have very strong expectations. Second, there is another aspect in this area that is not so evident, not so obvious when you consider deposit schemes. You must limit the number of packaging references, so you must converge. And of course, it's not obvious for brands to say, okay, we will all have the same bottle and refill it. So we must converge that. So there is some progress to be made, but there is also some progress already done. So let's move on.
Thank you. All right. Very quick question, very quick answer, and then we'll move on to the next pictures.
Sure. My question is for UNICO. Who is your buyer persona inside the waste collectors, and how do you reach them?
Yeah, it's a long question because we have different markets. The first one is the public one. So on the public, we talk to the responsible of the waste department. And at that time, you have to also talk to the technician because the technician will use the product. So you have to convince both of them. And then maybe the guy responsible for the collectivity. So you have three different personas. And maybe mainly outbound for now. We'll also have a little bit of inbound because of partnership, so we try to develop this activity. It's easier when we want to go to the markets quicker. And concerning the private sector, we mainly talk to the responsible of the waste department. Also, it's quite of the same. but there are a little bit more technician concerning the private ones.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, jury, for your questions. Thank you, Solutions, for your answers. Big round of applause to the first 4 solutions of the Circular Challenge. You may now leave the stage. And we've got 3 more solutions still to pitch. And next up, we're going to hear from and Repeat, who are looking to end single-use packaging in food takeaway. Take us away.
Thanks a lot. Nice to meet you all. So at Repeat, our mission is to end single-use plastic single-use for takeaway and delivery. We are a Swedish-French startup. Thanks, I was locked. And what we do is, recycling is broken. We all know it. Too much packaging goes out every day with delivery booming. It's not working, especially in the food service industry. We have a recycling rate of like about 5 to 15% of this packaging, so it's not working, and people are not ready to recycle. Originally, what I tried to do was put reuse system into the food service industry, so to replace single-use packaging by reusable containers that people would go back to the restaurants to bring it back. It's good, restaurants are in it, but we're not cracking the volume, the usage. Usage is not coming. So we actually joined forces, we merged with a Swedish startup called Repeat. And what they do is, what we do now, is we reward the clients when they recycle the packaging. And that actually, that financial reward enables us to boom the recycling rate. We multiply it by 6. And what's also super interesting is we give the proof to the restaurant that their packaging is not only recyclable, but actually recycled. And that's a data that they never had. And last year, the government went on McDonald's and other chains to just say, like, what are you guys doing? And that's why we have such strict laws that are coming. So what we do is we not only put some more circularity in the packaging industry, but also we onboard both users and restaurants with a financially interesting for them solution. On the user side, what you do is actually you scan a QR code on your packaging, and when you scan it close to a bin, you get a reward. Right now it's €5. €5 you can spend at any of our partner restaurants. You can spend it on Deliveroo and other platforms. You can spend it in person at the cashier. We launched this service 2 months ago in France. We have now more than 200 points of sales all over France. Sweden and France account both around 80K users right now. So what we do is we create a movement around waste reduction. And I forgot, I don't have time, but who pays us? Restaurants, because they want to bring circularity and they want the revenue driven back to them with a huge cashback system. Sorry, time.
Thank you very, very much. And no worries at all, we'll still have time for a Q&A later. Big round of applause. Next up, we've got BanQu, who are looking at supply chain traceability from source to shelf. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ewald Meyer. I'm Director for Business Development at BanQu. So at BanQu, we are a for-profit, for-purpose company, a software-as-a-service company. We've built a non-crypto blockchain platform, private blockchain platform, that we configure and customize for clients depending on their use case or their project. So the 2 areas that we mostly focus on are waste management and circularity in waste, and also the sourcing of raw materials for brands like AB InBev and Coca-Cola. I'll give you a few examples to make it more practical. In Colombia, for example, with Bavaria, we help them to increase their reusable circularity of the bottles that they can reuse. So their target for the first year was to get 1 million bottles back. And because we connected all the actors in the supply chain, we helped them to get to that 1 million about halfway through that year. And the biggest issue we see is in emerging economies. So like Colombia, like Africa, elsewhere in South America and India and so forth. So that was in Colombia, as I mentioned. And the biggest problem for brands there are that they have a first or a last mile, depending on which way you look at it, which in circularity is normally an informal waste collector or waste picker. I'm from South Africa, we have that there as well. And they find it very difficult to get connected down the line all the way down to that waste collector to have an impact and to influence them. So we're able with our software to connect every actor all the way down to even that person who most of the time only has an SMS phone and no smartphone. On the raw material sourcing side, very similar. One of the clients we work with in 9 countries now is Anheuser-Busch InBev, AB InBev, you might know them. And where they source a lot of raw materials from countries in Africa and South America and Mexico and so forth. And again, the supply chain is very fragmented and siloed and very informal. So they have many, many thousands of smallholder farmers that they rely on for quality barley and sorghum and cassava, but they were disconnected. So we were able to connect them all the way through to those farmers, even if those farmers only have an SMS phone, again, that's very important. And those farmers start to build a history on blockchain that they can permission when they want to prove that they are part of a supply chain of a big organization like AB InBev or like Coca-Cola. The other example in waste management is extended producer responsibility, or EPR, that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. With Coca-Cola, we're helping them in South Africa to have an impact on the very informal circular economy in South Africa, because they can get connected all the way down to the informal waste picker, and they can influence the market to get more PET plastic back into recycling. And they get real data, which gives them the right information. It gives them the right insight to then have an impact, like incentives and so forth. So some of the tangible results that we have today, we've connected just over 2.5 million identities now. These are mostly informal waste collectors and smallholder farmers. We are actually live in 58 countries, it's not languages, and 12 languages. My time's up, sorry.
Your time's up, but there will be a Q&A, so you'll have a chance to share more later. Big round of applause, everybody. Thank you very much. We're here at the Circular Challenge, and we have one more startup to pitch for today, and that is BeFC. Here you go.
Thank you very much. At BeFC, we make electricity with paper and enzyme. Hello everyone, my name is Alexandre Bloch. I am sustainability lead, and I will present you our vision. We started with a simple observation. Every year is more than 15 billion miniature batteries who ends up in a landfill or are incinerated. This represents more than 97% of them. Indeed, miniature batteries are complex and expensive to recycle. This is why BeFC provides a sustainable solution. We are using paper, enzyme, glucose and oxygen to create electricity. And since we are not using any plastic or metal, our solution is fully organic and compostable. In parallel to this eco-friendly and non-toxic cell, BeFC developed bespoke digital platform. As for the cell is thin, flexible and lightweight. It can be used to power any type of sensor. It can be humidity, temperature, or even shock, as well as wireless modulus to transmit the data. BeFC have 2 main opportunities, replacement and innovation, and this in different fields. Wearables with patches, medical, where we did our first proof of concept with pregnancy tests, and IoT or logistics. The market of connected device is booming. In 2020, is more than 50 billion connected devices on the market. So, the target market are significant, and it's important to note that BeFC already have customers in all of these areas. For the challenges, the objective is to produce millions and billions of BeFC, so we have to determine the different end of life, whether it's recycling, reuse, or composting. Created in May 2020, where are we now? More than 30 employees and moving toward mass production with the aim to produce millions of units per day. And finally, if I'm here in front of you, it's because we want to move all together in the same direction, create synergy with as many people as possible, because alone we go faster, but together we go further. That's why I will finish with our motto, together, power the future with nature. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, that brings us to the next round of Q&A. And so I want to invite, you can stay here, and the other two who just pitched. And we'll have time now for questions from the jury. So if you didn't have time to finish your presentation, we can have that now. And take us away.
So we have a software as a service model, a cloud-based software. So our clients are typically either the brands, like a AB InBev or a Coca-Cola, who is the license holder. And typically then the other actors in the supply chain get to use the software for free. If the brand wants to charge them, that's fine as well, but we only typically invoice bill one customer. And sometimes in the circularity space, it can be a producer responsibility organization or a PRO. So typically the brand or the PRO.
Thank you.
Reward, or is it a deposit? It means, do the restaurant have increased their menu of, you're talking about €5? Or?
Yeah,
or
we actually have both. We have a deposit system where you put a 20 cent deposit on the price of the meal. Yeah. And if you recycle, you get a reward that's higher than the deposit. Or we hide the deposit in the price of the meal, so it's only a high moment for the user.
And I have another question. Your reward is on every packaging, or on paper packaging, or can packaging, or bottle packaging?
At the beginning, when we will start working with restaurants. We help them choose a specific packaging. It can be specific plastic or paper-based packaging. It can be both. Or it could be glass, reusable items in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. One question for BeFC. Wish you all the success. How do you compare to a classical battery in terms of capacity, duration, extreme temperature, etc.?
Yes, good question. So we have a sentence: if we want to put this correct amount of energy for the correct use case. For example, in pregnancy test, there are 2 lithium battery inside. You just urine on it, just see if you will be a mother or not, throw it at the bin. So for us, it's just a nightmare to earn that, and we did our first proof of concept on that. So this is one competition. For temperature, it depends on the use case. We have enzyme who can work very well from 0 to 60 degrees, and not above, not just in this cup, but we have other who work just after 60 degrees. So it depends on the use case. So we can, it's paper-based, so we can do the shape we want. We can put the amount of glucose or enzyme we want to provide the correct amount of energy for the correct use case. Don't know if it's...
Thank you.
Thanks. Question for Unrepeat. If I got it right, you said you have 80K users across the 2 countries you operate in. How do you keep these users engaged? Where are they? In a mobile app, in a program, how do you keep this community alive?
Yeah, it goes all with a mobile app. We have an app that actually you use to scan to get your reward and to spend it. And I forgot the other part of the question.
No, that's it. Okay, so you have a mobile app.
Yeah, we do. And I talked about 200 restaurants, but it's more like 1,000 on 2 countries. And we're only starting in France, but we are the graph is looking super good in France. We have more restaurants that they had in Sweden after 2 months. So we are looking good.
Great, congrats.
Hi, I had a question for BanQu. I was wondering how much were the informal collectors earning, and how does the raw material collected compared in terms of prices with when it is collected by a professional packager?
Okay,
two different questions.
Very good questions. So the first one, it's different in different countries and different cities. We even find in South Africa, for example, it's slightly different in Cape Town than Johannesburg. And this kind of data you only get when you start to connect them. So Coca-Cola had no idea about this before we started. None of us did. So now you can see how much people are getting paid. The very interesting part is as soon as they were able to get that information and decide what kind of impact they want to have, like giving incentives, and now they can communicate with these collectors, right, because they have SMS phones. As soon as they started to offer some incentives, the average wage per month of some of the collectors actually increased by 25% because they were incentivized to pick up more PET, for example, versus something else. But it's still very low, to answer your question. The wages are low, but this way the brands can have an impact and the PROs can have an impact to help bring that up and increase it with incentives and changing behavior. The other part, the collection companies, that varies a lot, again, by country and by city. So some collection companies will come and collect it and not be paid by the business, like a supermarket or something. It's just a service that they come and take care of it for you. Others actually charge, but those are the ones that go a little bit further. Those are the ones that are part of the formal supply chain. So they will make sure it gets recycled and go all the way through to the new company who will reproduce new products. So they will charge some fees. We don't really get involved with those fees though. So we mainly focus on connecting the informal waste collectors, which are the ones that are struggling the most.
And are you able to tell us by how much the recycle rates have jumped on some of the materials your clients produce?
We're in year 2 now in the Coca-Cola one, for example. That was the first one we did on a specific type of plastic, PET plastic. So the first year it was about 10 million kilograms that were collected. So we're now in year 2. So the proof will be in the pudding. We'll have to see this year how it goes.
Good luck with it.
But with a reusable glass, though, we did see the uptake quite quickly with Bavaria and Colombia. So they reached that target of theirs much quicker than a year.
Thank you very much. We would have time for 1 or maybe 2 quick questions.
Can I go? Maybe one question for BeFC. How do you think you have the most impact, being an industrial, producing the cells, the batteries, or licensing your technology for a lot of sites and different people to produce what you offer?
So we want to be game changer. So we are in industrialization phase. So just the fact that we reduce the impact of the source of energy, because when you want data, there are 2 downsides, or it's passive like RFID or stuff like that, or it's active but you have a lithium battery, or I will say a dirty battery inside. So this is one of our first big impacts. And yes, on top of that, if you just add what we are doing, we aim to optimize the consumption of this electrical platform powered by our source of energy. We have a bespoke solution, we can do whatever we want. So I think impact will be both on the industrial things and licensing also what we are doing with the electronical team.
Thank you very much. This brings us, in fact, to the end of this session of Circular Challenge by Citeo and our 7 wonderful pitching finalists from the year-long accelerator program. So watch this space. I'm very curious to see what will happen with all of these solutions we've heard about. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, giving your energy. We're going to be back on in a few minutes for pitches on the topic of mobility. So you're welcome to stay. And we're really excited to continue with the pitches for today. Big round of applause for all of our solutions who have pitched today, and thank you.